There's been this fight going on between two wizards for over 30 years, and when I say two wizards have been fighting for 30 years, I'm not talking about like some video game or a fucking joke, bro. There's actually these two famous comic book writers who both claim they're wizards and they're into all this magic and occult shit, and they both like fucking hate each other, and they've been having like this cold war going on for like 30 years or something. And I just thought this thing was interesting, right? So there's these two famous comic book writers, Alan Moore and Grant Morrison. I don't know shit about comics, but if you're into comics, you've probably heard of these guys because they're pretty famous. I think Grant Morrison worked on like Batman, and he helped like revive the X-Men comics when they were like doing really shit. And then Alan Moore wrote the Watchmen comics and the V for Vendetta comics. So these guys are very well-known comic book writers, and they like know their shit. They're not dumb at all. They know what they're doing, but they both claim, as I said, to be magicians and wizards basically, and apparently they're into all this magic shit and like casting spells and whatever, and like not even as a joke, they both believe that magic is real and that they are fucking wizards, bro. Another thing as well is that this Alan Moore guy, the one who wrote Watchmen, he believes in some snake god called Glycon. Like, I'm not making this shit up as well, bro. I'm not making any of this up. You can read this stuff for yourself. I mean, listen to me because it's more entertaining for me to tell you it. But this Alan Moore guy, this wizard and comic book writer, believes in a snake god or some shit called Glycon. So I don't know what that's about, but he worships some ancient snake deity or some shit. And both of these guys, they've been in a disagreement for like over 30 years because, long story short, I think Alan Moore thinks Grant Morrison's the guy who wrote he wrote some of Batman and some of the X-Men and all this other shit. I think Alan Moore thinks Grant Morrison is famous because of him, and Grant Morrison has like copied some of his comics or some shit, something like that. It's a whole like feud, it's a whole beef going on. But the other thing as well is that since they both believe in magic, they also disagree on that as well, because both of these comic book writers, they like do two different types of magic or some shit. Magic, right? Once again, I don't believe in this magic shit. I don't know what's going on with this, but these guys think they're wizards. So Alan Moore believes magic is like an art form, and his magic is more about rules and like following a process, right? And as I'm telling you this, bruv, I know this sounds like really like fucking weird and retarded, but like hear me out. I'm not making any of this up, bro. So Alan Moore believes in like following rules and following a process for his magic. And then this other guy, Grant Morrison, he believes in what's called chaos magic. And I don't know shit about that, but chaos magic is more like you just do what you want and there's no rules. You kind of just do whatever and you kind of make the rules for yourself. And it doesn't matter if you like hurt anyone with chaos magic. You just do whatever the fuck you want, and you do it to get money or like get famous or some shit. I don't know. There's something like that. So they both do these two types of magic, and they disagree with each other on like what magic form is the best or something like that. Also, interestingly enough, Grant Morrison wrote a comic called The Invisibles, I think. I don't know if you've read that or know about that, but it's like when a group of people with superpowers are trying to save humanity from like alien gods or some shit. It was like a pretty big comic. But the funny thing is that this Grant Morrison guy claimed that he got inspiration for this Invisibles comic from aliens that abducted him one time or some shit. It was something like that, bro. Like, this Grant Morrison guy, he's the one who believes in chaos magic, which is just doing magic without any rules and shit. This wizard claims he was abducted by aliens, and that's where he got a lot of inspiration for this comic from. So I don't know, like, these two guys, these two wizards, and these comic book writers, they kind of sound fucking crazy, right? They kind of sound like they're on drugs, but at the same time, their comics are some of the biggest comics ever, and a lot of them have been made into movies and shit. So clearly they know what they're talking about. Clearly they're not like all crazy, you know what I mean? I don't know. The other thing they both believe is that their comics are acting as like spells, and their comics that they're writing and when people are reading them, they can like change the real world, and they can like change people's consciousness or something. I don't know the specifics of it, but essentially they believe the comics they're writing are acting as spells that can affect the real world. And this is kind of interesting because since both of them disagree on what kind of magic is the best and what form of magic is like the proper form of magic to use, and they both believe that their comics work as spells that affect the real world, that kind of means that when one of them writes a fucking comic that's acting as a spell, it's like the other one has to write a comic that kind of cancels out the other guy's comic. And so essentially they've been writing comics for 30 years, and since they both believe these comics are like spells, they've been in this fucking wizard magic war for like 30 years at this point, since like the 80s or some shit. It's kind of crazy. And I remember Grant Morrison was saying as well, in one of his comics, I think it was the Invisibles comic that was revealed to him from an alien abduction, I don't know. But it was in one of the comics he wrote that he said one of the main characters, whenever he wrote something bad that happened to that main character, something bad would happen to him in real life. So that's kind of what I mean when these guys say they believe that their comic books are like fucking spells or some shit. This Grant Morrison was like, I think he wrote one of these characters getting shot and like really badly wounded, and then he said after that he got like blood poisoning or some shit like that. I don't know. So he just believes that him writing this comic and him like writing shit for his main character was affecting him. So then he said when he started writing good things happening to his main character, then good things started happening in his life. I don't know. And that's what both of these guys believe. They believe both of their comic books are like fucking spells. So they've been in like this wizard war for 30 years, just going back and forth, creating these comics that apparently affect the real world and affect people's consciousness. So I don't really know. I mean, I guess this is kind of cool. Once again, I actually don't know about magic. I know people genuinely believe magic is real and like occult stuff is real. I don't know anything about that, and I don't know shit about comics, but I thought it was interesting because I was really into magic when I was younger, actually. Not like real magic, I guess, which is what these guys are talking about. But bro, when I was 11, I had a whole fucking magic school. I like running at school. Like at school, I had a whole fucking group of students that I was teaching magic, bro, when I was 11. I'm not even like capping about that. Like seriously, I remember when I was younger, I found some website that had like thousands of spells on it. I don't remember what it was called. I was like 11 years old, so I wasn't even like that young, and I was kind of old to be believing in magic, right? But I found this spell website where there was like a tutorial as well for creating your own spells. And so I remember like creating a spell to set shit on fire, because like I don't know why, I just wanted to set shit on fire. Like that's sick, bro. So I remember creating a spell. I had a whole fucking magic book where I wrote it down, and it was like every time I say a certain word, the object that I'm pointing my hand at like sets on fire or some shit like that, right? So I remember doing that and trying it in my room with like a box. I had a fucking box and I pointed my hand at it and said the magic word to set the box on fire. And of course, the box never set on fire, right? But then I remember walking to it and touching it, and it was like warm. I swear, bro. I swear when I was 11, I walked to the box that I tried to set on fire, and it was warm in that one spot I was focusing on. So I was like, holy shit, the spell's like kind of working right. It's just not strong enough to set it on fire. So I went to my mom's room. I was like, holy shit, mom. I mean, obviously I didn't say that, but I was like, my spell works. And I started telling her about the spells and everything. And then I created a shit ton of more spells. And then I remember like going to school with all my other 11-year-old friends, and I was telling them about my spell and how it was working. And then I started demonstrating the fucking fire spell like one time at lunch. What am I even talking about right now? I don't even know how I got here. I was talking about some fucking magic war with two comic writers. Anyways, I remember teaching, like when I was 11, bro, I remember teaching my friends this spell to set shit on fire, and they all kind of saw me as like this group leader now, and that I was like the principal of this fucking magic school. Like, I don't even know. There was like 5 of us, and we just created spells and shit like that. It was hilarious. And then at lunchtime, I had them all line up trying to set shit on fire with our hands. And then we went around the school picking up sticks to make for wands and shit. And then I remember like these other group of kids fucking broke our wands and like made us really sad, and they were bullying us and everything. But something interesting as well happened when I had this fucking magic cult going on when I was 11 years old, bro. This magic cult I made with my friends. We were sitting one time at lunch, and there was this kid in our magic cult, right, who was like really shy. He was so fucking shy that he barely even talked to us, even though he was like in our friend group. But he had like a crush on this girl in our class, but the problem was obviously that he was super shy, and this girl like never talked to him, but he had a crush on her. So we were like, you know, fuck it, let's just make a like love spell for you, bro. We were like, we'll just make a love spell. You're the perfect test subject, right? So I remember in my magic book, we wrote a whole fucking love spell, and we performed like a ritual at lunchtime, right? And we were like, okay, we've done the love spell, we've done the ritual, just go back to class and let's do our shit and just forget about it. And so we forgot about it because in the back of my mind, I was like, you know, I'm kind of role playing as a wizard. I'm not 100% sure if this is real, you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, you know, fuck, I'll just let it be. But like later that day, that same kid, this shy kid that we used the love spell on came to us, and he was like, guys, it worked. And then he told us a story about how this girl that he had a crush on and who was the subject of our love spell helped him with his bag or some shit. And they had like never talked before, but apparently the girl like helped him with his bag or something and started talking to him. And I was like, that's fucking crazy, bro. And like, it's just crazy because that shit worked, bro. the fucking love spell worked. I don't know. I thought that shit was crazy. Yeah, honestly, I didn't give a fuck about these 2 comic book writers. This was just an excuse for me to yap to you about a magic cult I started when I was like 11 years old, bro. I don't know. Maybe we need to start that again, you know. Maybe we need to like start the fucking magic group again. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your Hogwarts house is as well, actually. I've been thinking about that a lot because I kind of think it's funny how when I did one of those Hogwarts house quizzes as a kid, I always got like Hufflepuff. No, wait, no. I got Ravenclaw. I always got Ravenclaw, right? When I did the Hogwarts house quiz. And the Ravenclaws are like smart in Harry Potter, right? They're like the intelligent motherfuckers. And that was so cool because I was smart. But like now whenever I do the quiz, I'm just in Slytherin, bro. I just get fucking Slytherin because I'm like such a shit person now, right? So let me know what your fucking Hogwarts house is. And I love you. I genuinely love you with all my heart. I'm not even gonna lie.